It'd be a very interesting experience because then you would find out how up he is on that. Because he might say, oh yeah, we'll test you because women over a certain age we need to know. But your kids need to know more than you. That's not really true. But they have a lifetime of being deficient that you could prevent. You're at where you're at, sweetie. So you got 20, 30 years of being deficient. Wow. And it's unfortunate, but you have to understand this principle, which is he has already put in you, physically so, I'm still on the physical plane, what you need to restore your health. It's already in you. So he must have known what he was doing. Please understand that word faith. Have faith in the one who made you.
That's right. Gain
knowledge about the one who made you. Because when it's time to make that transition, that's within the realm of salvation. The physical is the example I'm using to point to the spirit. Because in the physical plane, there are cells that heal your body. They're already there. I used an example before. If you cut yourself accidentally, then every day you pick the scab up. Every day you pick the scab up. For 7 days you pick the scab up. And in 7 days, you come back to me as your doctor and say, look, it didn't heal. So as a good doctor, I would say, well, what did you do? Well, I picked the scab up. I wanted to see if it was healed. That's like if you plant a plant, put the seed in the ground, and don't have faith, then every day you dig it up and look at it. And you put it back down. The next day you say, man, I don't see nothing coming up. Then you dig it up and look at it. Then you put it back down. At the end of the week, you say, man, ain't nothing coming up. Y'all confused, that's the problem. You talk to a farmer, he'll tell you, that's not how you do it, baby. You put it down there, maybe you water it, you hope we get some sun, and then in that gestational period, have faith and it'll come up to fruition.
That's right.
Put a Band-Aid on it. The Band-Aid don't heal it. It just keeps you from picking it. So that's why the Band-Aid is the greatest invention for healing. Because you cover it up, leave it alone. Because the healing is already within.
Right.
The healing is already within. Those stem cells are already within. So the stem cells are total potential cells that go to the area that's injured and tell other cells, go ahead and fix it. Those other cells say, I don't know. Fix it. And then your kidney heals itself, or your liver heals itself, because y'all been drinking too much and killed half your liver capacity.
Right. And
the only reason you ain't dead is somebody put something in you that healed it, and you don't even know what happened. What did you do? Go to sleep at night. So that's a metaphor. Because the one that's in you that's going to save you, you didn't even know he was in there. What did you do? Go to sleep. But I'm saying you should have faith and have trust and confidence in him that's in you.
Right.
Because then the research is now showing that those total potential stem cells, you can turn them on. They can repair the DNA damage. Let's talk about that for a second. With the vitamin D I was saying earlier, it turns on the immune system so that it's smarter. So the immune system, this is an example I use, I don't know if I said it here before, but for my patients I tell them, it's like if somebody stole your purse, you're at a mall, and they don't know you're crazy. So the guy runs off with your purse, you pull out a shotgun and start shooting. You get the perpetrator, but you're going to kill 20, 30 other people. That's your immune system without vitamin D. You got the virus, but your lungs is totally filled with fluid, you coughing up black stuff. You got fluid on your lungs, and you may or may not make it. With vitamin D, that same perpetrator comes, that's the virus. Except, see, now we're smarter. You pull out a sniper pistol, and we just track him. Killed only the virus. That person don't even know it was infected. Because their body stopped it before it manifested a negative state and condition. So there's always things that are happening that are going to happen in this phase to create a positive or negative state and condition. How it manifests depends on how what's in you is working. And are you picking it every day? Are you letting it in? So to the extent you are able to understand that, Yahshua has put in you the ability to say, I have faith and confidence in him. To the extent you really can say that, when a trying condition comes on you, you can go into a state of meditation or prayer or whatever you want to call it and relax. And then your cortisol level won't shoot up. If your cortisol level doesn't shoot up, it doesn't produce those cytokines that are destined to create more havoc than good. Because the best example I can think of right now is like I had my kitchen done over. And when those guys came, they tore up my kitchen. You know, they took the cameras off the wall, there was holes in the wall. They started looking for some pipes, they were banging more holes in the wall. I'm like, oh. Wouldn't it have been better if I had left the kitchen the way it was? You know, tore up my kitchen. You know, I was ready to go back to what I had before. So then when they finally got done, oh my God, it looked so much better. But it had to go through a downturn or destruction before it could be built back up. Your body has swelling for those cells to get in there, to remodel it, and then put the new cells, you know, to grow the new cells back. So the body is a set reaction that sometimes is not in your best interest because you are now conscious, able to make a decision. So sometimes if you injure yourself, you twist your ankle, you can say, well, I could do nothing and try to walk around on it, and it will get worse. Or you can say from experience, I heard, I talked to your doctor or your granny or something, they'll say, elevate it, reduce the swelling, put ice on it the first 24 hours, reduce the amount of damage that's done, because you don't need all that damage to fix something that's not broken that bad. So if I was redoing my kitchen now, I wouldn't let them people tear everything out. I just want them to paint the wall. I don't even want them to come into my kitchen with a hammer. But your body's reaction, every time there's damage, they come in there and start banging around with a hammer. So there's a time when you need to reduce the inflammatory reaction. When is that time? Most of the time. Most diseases are due to inflammatory reaction. So you got problems with your gums, inflammatory reaction causes those cytokines to be released all over. Those people have more heart disease. So reducing your cholesterol and all that stuff does nothing if you don't get it down to a certain level or reduce the inflammation. So the omega-3s that we talked about, that reduces the body's inflammation. The vitamin D we talked about, that reduces inflammation. So now you can see, now you're moving things out of the way of the healer that's already within. Before, what we were doing was blocking the healer. Before, what we were doing was worrying about something over and over, over and over. I mean, over and over and over, like a track that's stuck. In the old days, you know, y'all, everybody here old enough, you know what a record is? A record to skip.
Yeah.
That's the way your mind is working. If you understand how the mind works, think of it like this. You have a CD in your program that's peace. It's a special place of peace that the one who is peace put there for you. Why do you listen to all that other crap? Because it's on the radio? Because your kids left the CD in the car? No, in your mind, if you are so worried about what's going to happen with the world, you miss the point. I guarantee you, I'm looking around and just going to check. Probably everybody here is going to die. I'm sorry. So, if what you were trying to do was have eternal life in the physical body, that might not be a worthy goal. Now, I totally agree you should keep your body as healthy as possible. So you shouldn't say, well, forget it then. I'll just eat, drink, and party. So I'm not suggesting that. I think you should keep your vessel as ready as possible. An acceptable vessel. But the emphasis has to be on, Lee mentioned before, you can go in the closet and turn off the light, but that's not the level of darkness. Because if there's a darkness in here, it don't matter how much light is on the outside, the darkness is within.
Right.
And that level of darkness back here with the plague was so dark they could feel it. It was palpable. Because the lack of understanding of Yahshua in you leaves you in a state and condition of that palpable darkness. But he has put in you receptors to receive the light and do something to cause your physical body to have life and health.
That's right.
So I sort of was thinking and coined a phrase or something, I don't know what it is yet. But if you look at your body needs to be restored, I was going to say restored one. That one represents the oneness you need to have restored. The deficiencies you have, we can go through a whole list, but it's at least vitamin D. For those who are writing it down, you need at least 3,000 to 5,000 minimum. It depends on your weight. I told you 35 units per pound. Omega-3, you're absolutely deficient, unless you ate all of those fish we talked about. Number 3, probably majority of individuals are fiber deficient. There's absolutely not enough fiber in the food we're eating, and the way your intestines, everything was designed, you just need more fiber. And then you can get into probably magnesium deficient and a couple other minerals, but at least those need to be at a level such that enzymes in your body can do the healing that they're designed to do. So what occurs is the energy that you need you ever see kids running around? I was just thinking, that's the original, for lack of a better word, original neodynamic energy. That's the one. So the original energy that could have separated the light from darkness, you can look at it that way. When you look at kids running around, they wake up, when their feet hit the floor, they can go all day. And after about 10 minutes, we're like, okay, let's sit down. Let's go for that 20-minute walk. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow. You don't have the energy. What does it mean when you don't have the energy? Your cells are telling you there's something deficient. Because you should have the energy, because the energy represents that spirit operating in the physical plane. You should live in a state and condition of mind of joy. Righteousness, peace, and joy is what? The king. So, although your members may be under attack, stress, knowing that he has something for you greater should keep you in that peace of joy. And although it seems difficult, I use the example of supposedly the Buddhist monk that fell off the narrow path, and he was falling down this huge cliff. He grabbed on, but it was like a flimsy little root. While he was hanging there, he understood that root ain't gonna hold all day, and he's not climbing back up. He said, but he saw this strawberry, and he tasted it, and he said, that was the best strawberry you ever had. And in that moment, he had two minds, didn't he? One, I know I'm gonna die. Two, I enjoyed the strawberry while I can. The presence. The presence. That's the same thing. We're all here for a short period of time. You hang on to something that's tenuous, but you want to maintain that presence the whole time you're on the journey. Because in that, you're communing with a greater spirit that's teaching you a deeper inner lesson. Because you're able to let go and be present, or mindfulness, or oneness, or break it all the way back down, participate with that original neodynamic energy. That energy should keep you motivated on a constant basis. Because that's the original energy, and if energy is neither created nor destroyed, where did the energy come from? It had to be Yahweh, folks. You mean to tell me you got the energy in you? Where do you think you got it from? Nah, the real question. What are you going to do? you gonna do with it? So, for example, you now know vitamin D is essential, right? What are you gonna do? Use it. Who? You go get some?
Act on it.
How about your kids? How about your brother? How about your neighbors? How about the people you don't even know? Because when you're standing there, let them be standing in the store like, I don't know, should I get this and that? She needs some word of encouragement and say, you need 5,000 units. Don't get that 100 units. I'll send people to the health food store. They go in there, and they got on a piece of paper. Dr. Thomas said, get 5,000.
Get the time.
And then the clerk in the health food store says, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I already tested them, and their level is like 8. Okay? So 1,000 would increase it by 10, so in 3 months, it would be 18. It has to be 60 to prevent, well, it could be like 40 and prevent colon cancer, 50% colon cancer. Uterine cancer, all cancer combined, if it's like at least 55, but breast cancer from 50 to 67%, somewhere around there, it needs to be over 60. So she's about to get it, and the clerk says, that sounds like that's too much. We have like 400 and 600. Most of the people are taking Caltrate, calcium, and has 400 units of vitamin D.
Right.
And if they're lucky, maybe they're taking it twice a day, they're getting 800. So they're only like 4,000 short. So in that example, what I'm saying is, you have the ability to affect those around you with something that will give them more life. How do you know? 3 weeks you'll be saying, man, I got a lot more energy. I don't know, how was I making it before this? You take the omega-3 flaxseed oil and the omega-3 fish oil, you'll say, oh, I got a lot more energy. Well, here's what's happening. If you've ever heard the term, okay, you have a cell, tabernacle, within a tabernacle, within a tabernacle. You have a cell with a nucleus, a nucleolus. You ever heard of mitochondria? So this part of the cell wall, if we blow it up, has phospholipids. So it has a protein and fats on it. So it needs omega-3 to make the membrane on the outside and the inside such that it lets the right nutrients in at the right time and keeps the wrong ones out. So over time, since you're all deficient, it stops working. So when it stops working, the things you need for this body to make ATP, which we don't have time to get into, but that's a thing in the citrus acid cycle or Krebs cycle, where it goes from AMP, 1-phosphate, to ADP, 2 phosphates, to ATP, 3 phosphates. That's how your energy is formed. So since you're not making this no more, you don't have no energy. So the cell membrane, that's messed up. The ATP cycle, that's messed up. And if you keep going, that cell doesn't work. Then later, organ systems stop working. Then pretty soon, you die. Well, what do you need to work? I mentioned a couple of things, but this thing called a mitochondria, one thing they found is it needs CoQ10. Anybody heard of that?
Yep.
CoQ10, ubiquinone. It's in food, but not that much. So for their individuals, they had certain type of medical conditions. They found out they were giving it to the victims that had, tell you the truth, I forgot the story. But they either had heart problems, I think they had heart problems in Japan where they discovered it, and it cured the heart problems that in this country they said was incurable. As a side benefit, they found out all the people that had migraines, the migraines went away. Okay, that's 30 years ago. You have to understand, there's a 10 to 50 year delay.
That's terrible.
How many people knew about Yahweh 10 years ago in this room? How about your family? How long is it going to take your family to know? 50 years. 50 years. I'm going to tell this one, but they ain't paying no attention. I ain't telling nobody else, so they can get on my nerves anyway. You got a question?
I got a question on the subject of light. There's all kinds of sources of light. What's the difference between solar and just basic light we're sharing now?
Well, with that's a whole series of lectures. But to try to break it
can
down,
generate
the electromagnetic spectrum includes visible light that you can see.
Right.
It includes infrared light you can't see. Okay? So the spectrum is so vast that we're just talking about the light that you can see. There's different variations of that. So from a fluorescent bulb, it's a different spectrum of light than from a bulb they now call daylight bulbs. They now make bulbs, and actually you can go to Home Depot and they'll have 4 examples of different kinds of light, and the radiation coming from light is different, and it makes the color of the object totally different. But that, like I said, that gets the whole new round, because what we're really talking about is, we talk about the pattern, how the brain senses the light that's without and processes it. Because what you think you're seeing is like looking on a screen. How could you possibly think you're seeing what's out there when you look?
You're not generating any cholesterol forming.
You're seeing what's in your brain that's interpreting a pattern of light that's coming in through your eyes.
Okay.
So to the extent your brain has been programmed to take a certain pattern to see a certain thing, that's how you think you see what you see. So I can prove in one quick moment. Does anyone know here, everyone here know that you have a blind spot in your eye? Right in the middle, where all the nerves go into the middle of the eye, the rising cones. There's an area where there are no rising cones. So if you look at a spot on one page, you can move this around, and it'll be a point where you can't see right there. It's called a blind spot. Somebody, the doctor has tested it. But you think you're seeing everything, your brain fills in this space as blind. So that's why there are certain conditions where you can be in a situation that seems like something disappears, it was in a blind spot. To answer your question, there's an array of patterns or the rods and cones that interprets the light that gives you what you're calling your vision. So what you're seeing is an interpretation of the radiation that's coming from without. So, like I said, there's a whole discussion about the spectrum of light, of visible light, plus on each side there's light you can't see and radiation that you can't detect. X-rays is a form of electromagnetic radiation, but you can't see it. Cosmic rays penetrate everything. You can't see it. You only see visible light. So there's the visible light that's having an effect. There's the infrared. Then there's an ultraviolet B that's having an effect. You can't see ultraviolet B.
Okay.
So the amount, that's why I was saying, of the things that you know are minimal, the things we don't know is huge. And that's within the mystery of Yahweh can be revealed, but you have to what? Be receptive.
I have a question going back to the blind spot. Is that why, occasionally I'll be looking really, really hard for a certain thing, and I'll go and look, I'll look at different spots, and then later on I'll go back to the same spot, and there it is.
Yeah.
That's a couple of different things. That's also pattern recognition. If you're looking for something and it's the diamond pattern of that sweater, but it's turned to the side, so it's not exactly how you're expecting that diamond pattern to look, you look over it 2 or 3 times until you look at it at a different angle and say, oh, there it is. So it's pattern recognition.
Like keys or my glasses or different little things.
Yeah, that's more pattern recognition. That's more pattern recognition, because in your whole field of vision, the blind spot's only about that big. It's about 2 feet from you. And then your brain fills it in.
Another question?
Yeah.
Are there any side effects with vitamin D?
Yeah, the main,
Is too much intake of it?
yeah, the main side effect is if you don't have enough, you die. So, is it too much? Probably if you took, one study I read, this lady from South America took a vitamin thing from down there, you can't even get it here. It was 2 ounces, it had 1 million units in each. She took 2 the first day, no, it had 600,000. She took 2 the first day, that's 1.2 million doses. Then she took 600,000 every day for 10 days. That's another 6 million. That's 7.2 million units of vitamin D, and yes, you got toxins. Okay. But
You'll never get to that.
You've never heard of it before, but that's the fear factor they're gonna throw at you.
Yeah.
They're gonna get you with that because, you know, it may be toxic. Last joke. If you're real sensitive to the sun because of vitamin D and you're light-skinned, your skin would turn really, really, really red. I mean, really red. That's where they get redneck from. All of those people are vitamin D deficient to the extent that they're having a reaction from the sun. And if you work outside, on the back of your neck.
Why is it that people with lupus, when they get in the sun, their skin turns, they get red blotches?
Well, that's an interesting story. They have autoimmune disease, so they have both immune complexes in the skin, but they also probably what?
Vitamin D.
Thank you very much. All the autoimmune diseases, to a certain extent, have some role of being vitamin D deficient. And you had a question up here?
With the, when we're going to get the supplement, is it D3?
Yeah.
Particularly we're looking for,
Yeah.
and then with the omega-3 acids, is there a certain recommendation?
The omega-3 is fish oil. Omega-3 is either fish oil or flaxseed oil.
Is there like a certain amount of that you recommend as far as?
At least 1 or 2,000 milligrams a day. So I'm going to take the last question and close.
I just really have a quick comment. The same reason you need vitamin D for your skin exposure, people wear sunglasses 12 months a year, 365 days a year. You're supposed to let the sun in your eyes.
Absolutely.
It's the same problem. You know, you see people wear sunglasses all year round. You almost never see them take them off. They're not letting
They're being cool to people.
I know they look cool, but there's a
like
stimulation of that light going through the eye. Pineal, like whatever. You probably know how many glands it stimulates. So you should not wear sunglasses year round. You need a certain amount to let that light get into your eyes. I don't mean stare at the noonday sun.
Yeah.
But
Back to patterns. Your body has a circadian rhythm. That circadian rhythm is thrown off by simply flying to another time zone.
Right.
And that's why they say if you do that, they now will admit medically take some melatonin, and that would help you get back to the circadian rhythm of where you're living. Melatonin is the hormone that's produced by the pineal gland, which is the gland that is stimulated by the sunlight coming through your eye. So the light and dark pattern of day, somebody said, let's call light day, darkness night. So the one that made that pattern, who made you, made something in you that receives that information about the light and dark pattern of day and regulates all of your hormones in your body by that light and dark pattern. So what do we do to mess it up? You thought I was kidding. Here's what we do. You got that scratch, and you pick that scab off every day. That's what you do. Because when it's dark outside, you walk in your house and do what? Turn the light on. Forget that daggone pattern. I don't care about no natural pattern. I want to watch TV till 2 in the morning. That's ripping the scab off because your kidneys, your liver, your brain, everything in your body works according to a pattern. You just think the pattern you want to create is greater than the pattern designed by the one who made it. So as soon as we harmonize with the pattern according to the one who made us, physically, we'd be better off. I didn't even get to the mental part. But suffice it to say, everything I was talking about to heal the physical body has a counterpoint on the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual.
That's right.
And that counterpoint or that correlation is a guide. So with those words, I want to thank you and turn you over to
Just to put it into what you're saying is the S-O-N is, the S-U-N is representative of the S-O-N. So we can't live without the S-O-N, so that's why he makes it possible where we need the S-U-N also in order to survive. It's just a type of,
In every way
another way to
possible.
put it. Simply put.
in every way possible.
Yes.